That's right, we've got Listia on our minds again, and for those of you who do not know or have not dealt with them, Listia is a token economy bartering site on the internet, a popular one, whereby you trade for credits and you use those credits to make purchases elsewhere, token economy. And they have been suffering hyperinflation since the beginning of the year, which is where they lose control of the value of currency in an economy, like Venezuela right now, like Greece has gone through as an example. And this was brought on by their credits buyback program being initiated, where you can sell your credits back to Listia and they will purchase them minus a percentage of 20%, but they will purchase them back from you for actual money that will be deposited in your PayPal account. Unfortunately, they left this open like a stock market trade, so there is no set value for the selling back of credits, and this has caused a lot of turmoil on the site. We went from $1 equaling 1,000 credits to 5,000 credits in one day. So everyone lost 80% of the value of their credits immediately when the program was initiated, and it has fallen drastically. Last night it hit 17.5. So once upon a time, a million credits was worth $1,000. Now a million credits is barely worth $58 and still losing value. And I've been asked to do another video on this by some of the viewers because it has hit another pitfall in the last week. It had jumped from around 15, it was a dollar equaling 15,000, 15.1, 15.2-ish, to last night hitting 17.5. And this morning I think it's backed off to 17.1 so far. And they want to know what happened. Also, as a seller on Listia, I don't sell my credits. Let me just point that out. I've never actually sold any credits, even though I'm authorized to, because I don't like what's happened with it. So I don't want to participate with it. But I do still list things on Listia and barter and trade with people. And recently, there's been a lot of extra selling. Because of how the economy has gone, a lot of things have not been selling on Listia. It has slowed down a lot. But in the last week, I've gone from maybe 2 things selling a week to 15 in the last week. All of a sudden, there's a buying frenzy. Then we go from 15,000 credits to 17,005 in a few days. What is this? This is people deciding to cut and run. They're spending their credits on what they can now while they can, and then turning around and selling it for whatever they can get immediately afterwards with whatever credits are left over. These are people who have sat on Listia for months waiting for things to get better, and they're just not. It's not improving. So they're selling out. They're getting out while the getting is good. And that's the sort of a thing that you see in a stock market crash, like in the 1920s in the United States, where everybody said, oh hell, we're screwed, sell everything. And of course that just makes things worse. Now that brings the question, are they in their death throes? Sort of. I think they kind of are. They're at a point where they cannot fully recover from this. I don't think Listia will never be the same. It's really kind of, the heydays of having a good time on Listia are over. You're not going to get that back. They can stabilize. It's possible for them to stabilize and maybe back up a little bit, but they're not going all the way back to the way it was a year ago. That's not going to happen. Okay, too much damage has been done, and it's been ignored for too long. And primarily it's been ignored by Listia. The people know. It's kind of like the new Ghostbusters film. Everybody but Dan Aykroyd thought that the Ghostbusters film was going to suck, and it did. Everybody on Listia thinks that Listia is doomed, except Listia. They won't have it. They won't admit that they've made a mistake. And that's the first thing that they need to do. Number one, in order to recover from this, is to sit down and say, you know what, folks, we messed up with how this was initiated, and we're willing to admit that and take responsibility for it. They have to admit that they screwed it up. Second thing they need to do is take control of their token economy system again. And instead of having a sliding scale that has no end to it, apparently, setting a limit, like in a real economy, with real money, with real dollar values, like a government does, where they say, okay, this is the cap, and this is the end. This is the most that we're going to allow the cash to inflate to or retract to. They've got to do that. They've got to lock that in so that they can take control. And they're not willing, apparently, to do either of these things. Listia is not willing to admit they made a mistake, and they're not willing to take steps to correct it. And as I pointed out, even if that does happen, it will never be the same again. You're not going to have the same old Listia, and you're not going to have the credit values back down to where they once were. And it's unfortunate because, as I pointed out in other videos, I've been on Listia for years and had a good time with it, but it's just not fun anymore. It really isn't. It's gotten to be a headache. I don't put up probably 20 or 25% of what I used to. You could go into my auctions and you'd see 100 things listed, 200 things listed. I can't do that anymore. I'm not willing to risk it. And I'm constantly having people asking me to come down on the prices because you've got to, in order to guarantee yourself, because you can't get the bids that you used to either. People don't bid anymore. You've got to put a fixed price on your auction in order to protect your item, because in my case anyway, because I pay for the shipping. You know, I've never really charged anybody for shipping. Just one time I charged for shipping, actually. But you can't get the bids. You got to put a fixed price, a gin, basically, get it now, and then people are constantly asking me, oh, can you come down? Can you come down? I can't risk it. I can't come down like I might have been able to months ago or last year when I was able to be more flexible. You can't take the risk anymore because it's not really free. The stuff that I have, I paid for it or I traded for it to begin with. So nothing is actually really free anyway. That whole concept is a lie. You're exchanging for that token economy so that you can turn around and get something else from Listia. And the introduction of cash into this system has really caused a lot of damage. And as I've said over and over, they're never going to fully recover from it, and it's a shame. If you have any further questions, go ahead and post it in the comments section below. I do check that, and I do try to reply to everyone when I have the time. Like I said, any other questions or any other concerns on Listia or anything else, just let us know and we'll try to get back to you. I hope this has been informative, and good luck if you're still trying to hang in there.